Accessing vertex data and matrix math introduction. Okay, so the first big part of the script is done. We have a fully functional tree creation function. Now I need to create the second part of the script that uses a source geometry to distribute the trees onto. As planned, we'll take a geometry object and put trees on each of the mesh vertices. Sounds simple enough, and we'll get to learn about some new programming concepts along the way, like conditional statements or for cycles. So let's get into 3ds Max now. Let's create a plane object. Say we wanted to distribute trees onto this plane. How could we somehow pass this object to our script? The first and most commonly used technique when working with actions is to have the given action work on the current selection. So we should probably do that as well. We already learned about the $sign variable that always holds the current selection in it. We'll use that again here. What we'll need to do is get the selected object, somehow access its vertices, and call the make single tree function for each of the vertices and place a tree on them. So let's go step by step, at first figuring out a way to place a tree on the first vertex of the object at hand. Geometry class objects have a certain property inherited from the node class called mesh. This property always holds the mesh that the object has at the top of the modifier stack. As you know, the modifier stack works very simply. We have a starting object, in this case a parametric plane primitive. Then we add modifiers into the stack that modify the geometry of our object, each adding their own effect to achieve an end result, which is then displayed in the viewports and renders. By using the .mesh property, we have a way to access this modified vertex data. Let's try it on this plane object that we just created by using $sign, which holds the current selection, the plane in our case, .mesh. Then evaluate this line. It yields a result, tree mesh. This doesn't make much sense. We expected vertex and face data. The reason we only got a short tree mesh word is because the result was a more complex value type and it can't easily be displayed in the listener window. Let's look up this tree mesh value in the help file. So help max script reference, and in the index type tree mesh. As you can see, this is a pretty long help page. So if we judge based on quantity alone, this type is indeed a complex one. We're looking for one thing at this point, and that's how to access the actual vertex position of this mesh, like where each of the vertices are in the mesh. If we scroll down a bit, here, we'll see some links going to sub-pages of this value type. Click on vertex methods. That sounds like something that we would be looking for. Like if you're looking for how to get the position of a given vertice, that's probably under vertex methods. Indeed, if you just take a quick look at a couple of methods listed here, the name and the description of getVert returns the position of the indexed vertex as a point 3. Well, this sounds like what we would want here in this case. It expects two input values, the mesh itself and index of the vertice as an integer value. Let's try it quickly. So it went like getVert, then it expected a mesh, a tree mesh, which is the .mesh property of our selected object, and then just hit 1. Let's get the first vertice's position. And there you go, there's a 0.3 value that probably points to the first vertice of this mesh. But we'll prove that putting it into actual use with our tree creation script that we already have. So let's open up the script that we had here and let's modify it a little bit. So instead of creating a tree in these preset positions, we'll create